Headlines. President Tinubu approves 15% import duty on petrol, diesel. Conference of Speakers reaffirms commitment to electoral reforms. President Trump lowers tariffs on China. What happened this day in history? Find out in the Lest We Forget segment. Heart of the Matter addresses challenges of mobile network failures. You can track us on www.radionigeriaibadan.gov.ng, Instagram at PFM935, Facebook, Premier FM 93.5. I'm Emilia Ojemudia. Now the details of the news. President Bola Tinubu has approved the introduction of a 15% duty on petrol and diesel imports into Nigeria. The initiative was aimed at protecting local refineries and stabilizing the downstream market. In a letter addressed to the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, President Tinubu directed the immediate implementation of the tariff as part of what was described as a market-responsive import tariff framework. The letter signed by the President's private secretary, Mr. Damilotun Aderemi, conveyed the President's approval following a proposal by the Executive Chairman of FIRS, Dr. Zaccheaus Adediji. Meanwhile, in his memo to the President, the FIRS Chairman explained that the measure was part of ongoing reforms to boost local refining, ensure price stability, and strengthen the Naira-based oil economy in line with the administration's renewed hope agenda for energy security and fiscal sustainability. Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee has released detailed clarifications addressing concerns by Nigerians in the diaspora about the new tax reforms taking effect next year. In a document by the chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, during personal transfers such as family remittances, gifts, refunds, or community savings contributions are not treated as taxable income. It explained that only income earned or deemed to be income such as wages, business profits, investment returns are subject to tax. On double taxation, the committee clarified that income earned abroad and brought into Nigeria by a non-resident individual is exempted from tax in Nigeria, regardless of whether tax was paid abroad or not. The chairman, Conference of Speakers of State Legislatures of Nigeria and Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly, Mr. Adebo Ogundoyin, has reaffirmed the commitment of the conference to driving critical electoral reforms aimed at deepening democratic governance across the country. Mr. Ogundoyin stated this while receiving a delegation of a non-governmental organization at his office in Ibadan. The conference chairman reaffirmed the unwavering commitment of state legislatures across Nigeria to critical electoral reforms aimed at strengthening democratic institutions and deepening the nation's democratic process. He noted that the Conference of Speakers remains open to progressive ideas that will strengthen democratic institutions, improve electoral credibility, and promote citizens' confidence in the political process. Earlier, the executive director of the organization, Mr. Bukola Idowu, presented 5 priority reform areas before the chairman of the Conference of Speakers, including establishment of an Electoral Offences Commission, timely transmission of election results, reform of INEC leadership selection process, and amendment of the continuous voter registration framework. The Civil Defense, Correctional, Fire and Immigration Services Board has warned Nigerians to beware of fraudulent recruitment messages circulating online as the 2025 paramilitary recruitment enters a crucial phase. In a statement by the Secretary to the Board, retired Major General Abdul Malik Jibril, the Board clarified that it will not contact applicants through emails or SMS, stressing that all legitimate updates are available only on its portal. Retired Major General Jibril urged applicants to visit the site to update their profiles and print examination slips as part of the ongoing shortlisting process. He said the The warning followed the release of names of candidates shortlisted for the paramilitary agency's computer-based test. He urged candidates who applied for recruitment into any of the 4 paramilitary agencies to visit its official recruitment portal from today to check if they had been shortlisted. The Federal Ministry of Education, under Innovation, Development and Effectiveness in the Acquisition of Skills, Technical and Vocational Education and Training Ideas TVET Initiative, in collaboration with Jollop Business Venture Nigeria Limited and Hort Consultancy Ventures Limited, have commenced a 6-month training for 200 youths in crop production. The official flag of ceremony took place at the National Horticultural Research Institute, NIHORT,
serious-minded.
Welcoming the participants, the training project manager, Mr. Gabriel Oyedola, advised the trainees to remain focused and make the most of the opportunity for their personal and professional development.
We are serious-minded about this training. There's no room for truancy. Any of the trainees that are not ready to meet up with our minimum attendance requirement is advised to leave us now.
Declaring the program open, project consultant for the Federal Ministry of Education's Ideas Project, Mr. Akintunde Babarinde, noted that the training was designed to shape the lives of Nigerian youths positively.
Our trainees will be taught a lot of things to assist them in the knowledge of agriculture through the current knowledge our old farmers do not have.
In a goodwill message, the Executive Director, National Horticultural Research Institute, NIHORT, Professor Muhammad Lawal, who was also the special guest at the event, commended President Bola Tinubu for his commitment to improving the lives of Nigerian youths, promising that NIHORT would provide the needed technical support to ensure the success of the training. Present at the flag of ceremony were the representative of Ibadan Northwest Local Government Area, Mr. Akindele Adiyinka, the Oyo State Chairman, Agricultural Development Program, Alhaji Saliu Imam, and members of the Internal Management Committee. If you have just joined us, you are listening to the news at 11 here on Premier FM 93.5 from the stable of Radio Nigeria. Do stay with us, we'll be back shortly. We're glad to know you're still there. Now, this day in 2007, Olubunmi Patricia Ete resigned as the Speaker, Nigerian House of Representatives. And now to the foreign scene, United States President Donald Trump says the U.S. would sign a trade deal with China soon, following talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping in South Korea. The talks will be seen as a breakthrough after trade tensions had ramped up between the world's 2 largest economies. President Trump also announces lower tariffs on Chinese imports and says Beijing will give the U.S. better access to minerals that are used in the making of electric cars. China releases a more subdued version of the meeting, which says both sides have reached a consensus to resolve major trade issues. Meanwhile, there's been no word on a final deal on the sale of Chinese-owned TikTok's U.S. operations. Now remember, good citizens build a great nation by respecting law and order. Be a good citizen. Addressing challenges of mobile network failure forms the basis of today's Heart of the Matter, written by an intern from the Redeemers University, Itseoluwakiti Akoshile.
Existing infrastructure. In this modern age of digital communication, one would think that staying connected has become easier and more reliable. Yet many Nigerians continue to experience a frustrating and persistent problem associated with network failure. For the average user, Network failure simply means when one's phone or internet connection suddenly stops working. The calls do not go through, messages hang for minutes before sending, or the data connection keeps slowing down. It is that familiar phrase that individuals heard too often: the network is bad. In cities where technology is becoming an important part of everyday life, the effects of poor network service are deeply felt. Students attending online classes, business owners selling their products on social media, and even ordinary people trying to make bank transfers all depend on a stable network connection. One major issue of network failure is poor infrastructure, as many telecommunications companies in the country still rely on outdated equipment and unstable power sources to run their masts, as electricity supply is unreliable. Most towers are powered by generators. With the high cost of fuel, many of these companies struggle to maintain consistent operations, which result in weak signals and constant disconnections. As more people use mobile phones and internet services, existing infrastructure becomes overloaded. Network failures also affect the economy in ways people do not always notice. Small business owners often lose customers when they cannot respond quickly. In particular, online traders cannot confirm payments, journalists cannot send stories on time, and students cannot access research materials or attend virtual lectures. Even emergency calls can fail during critical moments. This shows that poor network service goes beyond inconvenience. It also affects livelihoods and progress. Addressing these challenges requires both short-term and long-term solutions. Telecommunications companies must invest more in improving their infrastructure, expanding coverage, and maintaining their facilities regularly. There is the need to adopt renewable energy sources like solar power to run network towers efficiently, especially in communities where electricity is unstable. Regulatory bodies like the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) must ensure that telecom operators provide quality service that matches the amount Nigerians pay for. Policies should also support the expansion of broadband access and the laying of fiber optic cables to strengthen internet reliability across the country. Government needs to provide the right support for the network systems to become reliable and efficient. Solving the problem of network failures requires teamwork from service providers. Regulators and even users must rise up to demand better service. With the right commitment and investment, a future of reliable global system for mobile telecommunications (GSM) is not impossible, as strong networks build strong nations.
That script on addressing challenges of mobile network failures was written by an intern from the Redeemers University, Iteolua Kiti Akoshile, and read by Feishara Uwumoyela. So, in the news, here is a recap of the major stories. President Tinubu has approved 15% import duty on petrol and diesel. The Conference of Speakers has reaffirmed commitment to electoral reforms. And on the foreign scene, we told you that President Donald Trump has lowered tariffs on China. And that's the news at 11 here on Premier FM 93.5. It was edited by Mushokbe Kendi. My name is Emilia Ujimudia, thanking you for your time. Well, it's time now for the translation in Yoruba, and that's Akujokwa Iroyin, and Ayodele Olaupa is standing by to stay with us.